Bismillah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So here in this video, I will teach and give few questions on how to count zakat and counting few questions of zakat, specifically 9. So the first question is Mrs. Rahma has 120 grams of gold and has saved it for 1 year. So the requirements of zakat for it to be mandatory is first nisab. Nisab is the minimal quantity or weight of a mineral for it to be required to be zakat. Howl, which is which is the the time the time he have owned that treasure, which those two will be required in here in this video to count zakat. So first, 120 grams of gold. First, we need to search up the price of gold today, so we know how much to zakat. So 1 gram of gold in rupiah. Today, the price of gold is 2,684,000, 2,684,100, and 162,000. So let's just round it up to 3 million. So it's basically 3 million times 120. And the nisab of gold is 85 grams. So Mrs. Rahma is required to zakat at least 2.5% of her gold. So calculate it. So it's 120 times 3 million. Okay, calculator. So 120 times 3 million, 3 million equals 360 million thousand 360 million rupiah, which Mrs. Rama has in terms of gold. Now let's let's multiply it by 2.5%, which in decimal is 0.025, which equals 9 million. So Mrs. Rahma has to zakat at least 9 million rupiah, which is at least 3 grams of gold. So Mrs. Rahma is required to zakat 9 million. The next question is Mr. Budi. He has 90 grams of gold and he has saved it for a year. So that means let's first check if it's reached nisab. Yes, it has reached nisab because it's 85 grams of gold. Then it reached hal. Yes, because it has been a year or has surpassed it. And second, the mineral price, which is 3 million again. So let's multiply it again. 3 million times 90, which equals about 270 million rupiah. And 270 million rupiah multiply by 2.5% is 6,750,050 rupiah, which is Mr. Budi required zakat in terms of rupiah. But if 90 grams for the gold, that's mean you have to divide it by 3 million, which Mr. Budi has to zakat at least 2.25%, 2.25 grams of gold in rupiah, 6,750,000. 6,750,000 rupiah. For the fourth question is Mr. Hadi, which he has 800 grams of silver. So for the nisab of silver is 595 grams, which obviously is way below 800 grams of silver. And Howell and over here it states that he has saved it for at least 1 year, which has reached how. So let's check the current mineral price of silver, which is 1 gram of silver in rupiah. Now 1 gram in silver of rupiah is approximately 47,000. Yeah, 47,000. So let's just round it up to 50,000, and let's multiply it by 800 grams of silver. This 50 times 800. 50 times 800. 50 times 800 will be 40 million. Yeah. Hold up. 40 million. 40 million times 2.5%, which is 1 million. So Mr. Budi, no, where is it again? Yeah, Mr. Hadi has to zakat at least 1 million, which is 1 million in grams of gold is 2 million. Wait, that divided by 50,000. Yeah, 20 grams of gold. 20 grams of silver, which she has to zakat. And for the fifth question is Miss Sari. Miss Sari has 600 grams of silver and she has had it for a year. First, has it reached nisab? Yes, it has reached nisab. Has it reached Howl? Yes, it has reached Howl, since it's been a year or even more. Now, let's multiply it again. 500, wait, 600 times 100 times 50,000 is 30 million. So, hold on. Yes, 30 million. 30 million in the 30 million divided by 2 and not divided. Hold on. 30 million times 2.5% is 750,000. So Miss Sari has to zakat at least 750,000 rupiah in silver, and that is 15 grams of silver. And yeah, that's 50 grams of silver. Wait, not 50. 15 grams of silver and 750,000 or 750,000, which Miss Sari has to zakat. So the sixth person is someone, an unnamed person has 550 grams of silver. Now, the problem here is 550 grams of silver is below nisab of below nisab of silver, which silver is 595 grams. So even though he is in required to zakat, it is still it is still a good deed for him to zakat most of his silver. So we'll skip the rest of these since the mineral has not reached this up, but it has reached out, but it's still not it's still not required. The year of Fahmi has savings of rupiah 75 million for 1 year. So, oh, how do you search of the nisab of rupiah? which in the times of Rasulullah SAW hasn't been there. So we'll use silver. Silver is 50,000. So basically, we'll divide 75 million by 50,000, and we'll convert that into silver to see if it has reached nisab or not. So 75 million, 75 million times, no, not times. Again, 75 million times. Why do I keep times? 75 million divided by 50,000. So that's that's 1,500 grams of silver, which of course has reached nisab because 750,000, 775 million divided by 50, which is a single gram of silver, it'll result in 1,500,000, which is in silver, grams of silver. So uh, Fahmi has to zakat is required to zakat. Now let's search again. We come back to uh, 75 million, and we'll divide it by 2.5%. And why divide 75 million times 2.5%, which Fahmi has. That means Fahmi has to zakat at least 1,875,000 rupiah. And we check here, he also has reached also. Fahmi is part the zakat. The next question is Nabila. Nabila has savings of 35 million rupiah for a 1 year. So let's use the same formula and count it from 35 million again. 35 million divided by 50, which is, hey, no. Oh, yeah, 50,000. That means Nabila has 700 grams of silver, which is way above nisab. So Nabila has to zakat. Yes, Nabila has to zakat. Now let's go back again to 35 million, and let's multiply it by 2.5%, which is 875,000, which is the required amount for Nabila to zakat. Yeah. For the last one, Rudy. Rudy has savings of 25 million for a year. So let's use the same formula again. 25 million times, no, not 25 million divided by 25 million, and 25 million divided by 50,000 is 500 grams of silver, which has not reached nisab of silver, which is 595 grams. So of course we don't have to search the answer anymore, but Rudy is not required to donate zakat or charity. In other words, for, yeah, since 25 million rupiah is under 25 million is equals to 500 grams of silver, which is not above or at nisab. So I think that's all the questions I can answer for this presentation in Canva. I'd love to thank you for listening to the end. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.